Folks, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to just the podcast. I am honored to say that I am here with Roma today. And just as always, we're just gonna jump right into it.
I always did it as a kid. I feel like that's like such a common answer, but it really is just that. Like I started as a kid. I did all of like the theater like camps. And then I stopped for a while. Like I just took a break because it was getting too much. And then that was just I just started doing musical theater though. I did my first play, straight play in high school. And that was and then I fell in love with just like straight play acting, not really doing musicals, but I still did musicals on the side. And then when I realized that it was junior year of high school and I had to figure out what the heck I wanted to do with my life, like applying to schools, how it is. I was like, well, this is the only thing I at this moment would actually be happy doing in college. So let me just run with that. And I realized it didn't have to be a hobby anymore. So I kind of decided to go the BFA route. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that moment as well in high school where they got all the students in a classroom to talk about, where they wanted to do with their, and, in the future, for college. And I didn't know. It was such a tough time trying to figure out, do I want to be a teacher? Do I want to be a chef or
Yeah, and
maybe
like
a
and
firefighter?
it's
What's
only
going on?
like when you're in high school, there's only like six things that you think are like what you can major in. But there's so many jobs and different positions out there that like until I went to college, I never knew even existed. So like I think like to ask a 17-year-old, like, what do you want to do for the next 40 years of your life?
Mhm.
Like, lock it in now is like the big question and often
Yes.
changes very quickly.
hmm Was your college acting program the thing that hooked you in when you were looking for colleges?
Well, funny story. I didn't really know where to begin in
Okay.
terms of looking at programs. So I kind of Googled like top 10 acting schools in the US and went from there. Like, I know that sounds like so, but I'm the type of person that I kind of leave things to the last minute often. So that was kind of like, well, it's not like I had a dream school for years and years. I was like, well, got to pick something because the Common App applications are coming out and I need to get it roll on
hmm
that. So I Googled some schools and then I started doing my research there. And after I started, at least having a base of where I wanted to go, then I kind of was like, okay, what does each program offer and what do I think I'm looking for? But let me tell you, the list dwindles once you actually audition and some schools reject you, some waitlist, some accept. It's really like when that happens that I was like, okay, what programs then do I act like would fit in because now they've accepted me. All right, do I want to go there now?
Yeah.
Um yeah, so
Did you ever have an event where they were like, come down here, we'll show you around, we'll give you a tour, before you make a decision and you go
yeah.
down and check out the campus?
Yeah, I toured three schools. I'm from the East Coast, so I'm from New York, not New York City, but near New York City. And so I visited Fordham, I visited NYU's Tisch program, and then the big one that I visited was Carnegie Mellon, and that's the school I ended up going to. But so that was like we drove down to Pittsburgh and saw the school. But like for me, the campus mattered a lot less than what like the programs had to offer. I also did go to Michigan because for some crazy reason, you had to go to the school to do the callbacks, which I was like, this is crazy. So we packed up our Honda Pilot and drove 13 hours to Michigan in like negative 20 degrees. Let me
Wow.
tell you, we were suffering. And I was like, you know what? Even if I get into Michigan, I don't think I'm going to go here because I just can't stand the winter
Yeah.
here. Like it's too much. But it was cool to see the campus and stuff. But I um, I made sure that I didn't get too attached to an idea like when I
Right.
went there. I was like, I still have to go through the process, and there's still so many amazing applicants out there. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Hmm.
So, but it was cool to see like the different studios and stuff like that, you know?
I'm from Brooklyn, but I have not
Oh.
been back since I moved.
Do you think you'll end up in LA
I
down the line?
think I would probably stay here, and if
Yeah,
there was a job, I'd be there for some time, but Arizona would be the permanent location.
cool.
Hmm.
I've been to Arizona once. It was this past November. My boyfriend and I drove down from LA to the Grand Canyon because I've never seen it.
Hmm.
And Arizona is beautiful.
Yeah.
The landscapes, I mean, like probably like when you first came there from Brooklyn, you were like, oh wow, this is different.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I remember though, driving back, Arizona has some interesting like towns though, I must say. I don't even want to say towns. I didn't say like little communities
Hmm.
because we were driving back. We were on Route 66, which not what it's like in the movies.
Yeah, okay. It's just,
But there's this town and we're like looking for something to eat, and we drove through and we are like, this is what world are we in right now? It's
hmm.
crazy. Like the I forget because I've only really lived in like really metro modern places, and then I
Hmm.
go to like somewhere in like bumblefuck Arizona and I'm like, whoa. But Arizona is beautiful.
Yes.
Sedona's next. I want to see Sedona. Like
Okay, yes, I've been there.
I like movies, but I'm much more of a TV person.
Hmm.
Even just my own entertainment, I would much rather like get invested in a show than into like movies. And I think I really like myself included, like, forming that bond with a character and like really getting attached. And I think that would be really cool to really get into like the headspace of someone for a long time, like what that would
Hmm.
be, how I would kind of like see that character start to like mold into like my own life. I don't know. It would be a
Yeah.
really cool experience. So I think that would be my ultimate goal. And whether that be a show voiceover wise or it would be, TV, regular TV,
Hmm.
sitcom, doesn't really matter to me as long as it's a good show and people buy into it and like people love it and support it and I enjoy it. That's the dream.
Right. Were there any stage mishaps, where
Oh,
curtain isn't moving quickly and then you look up,
oh yeah.
uh-oh, there's something lodged up there. Someone's gotta go up
I've
there and
got
take it out.
some stories. I remember I was in high school and it was an 80, and for some reason most of the mishaps that have happened in my like stage shows have been Shakespeare shows. I don't know why. Don't know why, but both of the stories I'll tell you are both from Shakespeare shows, about 5 years apart between. But so this one was Midsummer Night's Dream. It was 80s themed. So I wore this like big green 80s dress. And this thing was falling apart. Like falling apart to the point where the only thing holding it on me was these two safety pins on like my undershirt, like bra. And I remember that like I was doing a scene and all of a sudden I went to hug someone and one popped and I was like, this is
No.
this is it. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. This dress is gonna fall off me like right now. And luckily the other one stayed on, but I remember they would have to sew me into the back of it because the zipper broke by like the, third day of tech week. It was a mess, but it was really funny and it made some good memories. And I also remember someone in that show, like the side door was locked and
Hmm.
that was where their entrance was and their mic turned on because that was the cue that the stage manager turned the mics on and they like cursed. They're like, shit, like, oh my God, I can't get in. And it like all of a sudden they turn off the mic and everyone in the audience is like,
Uh-oh.
and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make my entrance a little early to save this. But yeah, I've had moments where like people would forget their cue and we'd be lingering on stage waiting for them to come in because that's
Oh,
the next point of action, and we're just like, so where is he? What is happening? Very awkward.
yeah.
And especially that was in another Shakespeare play. It was my friend and I were on stage and we just finished our scene and someone's supposed to come in and they didn't come in. And it's like, well, no one's taught us how to improv Shakespeare. It's
Right.
not like you can just like pull some lines and say thee, thou art, like what, where art thou,
Yeah.
person? Like, so those are some in the moment you're like, crap, like this is really stressing me out. But then
Hmm.
after it's a good story. So I guess it's kind of worth it, the
Right.
mess.
I just imagine you just have to walk up to the audience and say, "Do you know where so and so is?" Kind of like Dora the Explorer. You just
uh
talk to them and hope that they will help you find them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely asked people after shows, like when that's happened, like, how bad did that come across? Like, did you notice there was a mistake? Like, but people don't care. And honestly, I think it makes for a more authentic experience
Yeah.
anyway. Like you can't you if you're really into live theater, you're gonna encounter a mess up somewhere in your time.
Hmm.
But that's part of the
Those
magic.
lights they're very, very hot on the people on stage. Has anyone ever been drained from the light or started, shifting around? Like, uh-oh, they look like they're
I,
gonna pass out, and then boom.
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anyone pass out, but I will say that the sweat is real. Like makeup will start to run after a while. Like you really got to cake it on. Like the lights all I've been also told that, the lights really wash you out, so like you look like a ghost on stage. So you got to like put basically almost clown makeup on your face. Up close it's very scary, but from far away apparently you look normal. So I'm like, all right. And that's a very different, thing of film TV is like you don't need to be all caked on and stuff. Like the
Hmm.
more the better. So that was definitely an adjustment also.
Yeah, I think the challenging parts of plays are the music cues and the sound. If you've done the checks, 5 hours before everything's fine, then all of a sudden a music cue is playing two
Oh yeah.
scenes from when it's
That is
supposed
why
to.
I would never be, yeah, I would never be a stage manager because a stage manager has their book of all the cues and they're the ones calling it. And in college, your first 2 years of school, and this they just wanted free labor, but you had to work tech crew for a couple of weeks. So in your freshman year you did one tech one semester and another the next, and then you did one more in sophomore year. And I remember I usually wasn't doing lights and stuff because I'm afraid of heights, so I was always on the deck crew. So I was always like moving the set pieces around. I was comfortable with that. I was comfortable with like mopping up after. Like I liked being on the deck but not anywhere with sound. Or I was on sound a couple of times, which stressed me out because I'm just like, I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
But I know this story of this girl who, the show was the full Monty, and at the end they flash the audience, but the audience isn't supposed to see it. If you do it right, the lights go down right when the flash is supposed to happen. So they like remove their hat and you're supposed to see something, but the lights go out, so you actually don't. However, they missed the cue a few times. And I heard that, and I was like, dang, why could I be there opening night? I didn't see this, but but she was a little bit late on the cue and boop, flashed everybody. Like seven
Oh,
people flashed the audience.
wow. Yikes.
And I think it happened like twice. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I would be mortified, but
Yes.
whatever. Like, but yeah, it does happen.
Mm-hmm. Was there a go-to food that was a tradition either before a final show or during all the shows that the crew and team would uh, go to? just
Mhm.
to catch up and chat afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I mean, pizza
Okay.
will unite any human being on earth. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is how you get a group of people together is a big, nice, warm pie of pizza. Like there's no better way to bring a group of people together than over a slice. But Brooklyn,
Yeah.
New York, like
Mm-hmm.
so that's pizza was always around. And I will say, I remember someone told me this wise tale or wives tale. I forget which it's referred to. But if you eat Lay's plain potato chips, because they have so much salt, they actually help soothe and take care of your vocal cords because the salt with the osmosis, I don't even know. Something with the osmosis and salt and Lay's potato chips,
Okay.
that was a tip I was told to always
Hmm.
have a bag of chips, which I love chips, so I was all on board with that. So that was something that I would always have is like a bag of chips or something salty, pretzels or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that right before. Um, Other foods. I would say, I mean, are we talking after party? Because there's definitely drinks.
Oh, okay. After parties.
Of course. Of course. Definitely celebratory drinks. The wrap party
Okay.
is always fun, cast parties, all that stuff. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, pizza was a big deal back in the day, and there would always be a lot of pizza left
Mm-hmm.
over, and you didn't want to be the only person to retrieve more
No,
slices of this
no.
delicious breaded dough
Yes. I mean, like,
ingredient thing. So you
yeah.
would
I mean,
just let it sit there, and then
I will
someone would
say,
take it, and then it's gone. I
yeah,
can't. It's gone.
I miss New York pizza. Like that is the one thing that I'm like, man, that is what we're missing out here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but apparently it's like with the water or something like that that makes the dough delicious. But I was always the first in line and the first in line for seconds.
Mm-hmm. All that's needed to get Iron Man pizza from New York is you just gotta get an Iron Man suit. Make sure it can go 660 miles per hour. You'll be in New York in no time.
Yeah. Or you can take the poor man's way of mega busing for like 6 days and get your
Ah.
go back. But I
Oh
don't recommend
man.
it. I would definitely take the Iron Man way.
Yeah. Just imagine you're just walking in the mall one day and there's this tiny little space in the mall that's kind of in darkness. The lights aren't working on that side of the mall, and you the drapes and you just see suits. And then you walk in and like, these are our prototypes. Would you like to do a test drive? And you're like,
And wait, I don't
sure.
get abducted in this story. I don't get abducted in the small corner of the mall where the
Yeah.
lights were. I would definitely be nervous if there was some front happening there, but
Yeah. Is everything going okay in here? What's going on? Why are the lights not working? They would probably do it to lure the very curious individuals. They wouldn't want everyone to have an Iron Man suit. They would want people that
right.
are very curious. Oh, the lights aren't working down here. I want to check this out. And then you walk, and then you just see the suits in the little shop. And then you go, oh, they don't want a lot of people to know they're making suits. That
These
makes
are the
sense.
same people that get murdered in horror movies. These are the same people. And they got lucky this time.
Yeah.
They got lucky, and all they found were suits, not some
Mm-hmm.
crazy wackadoo
Oh
going to
my
kill them.
gosh. I would have to just make sure that everything's okay, and I'd get into the suit as long as I saw one of the associates get in and see them, successfully launch into the sky and move
Right.
around a little bit and then come back down. Then I would
Yeah.
have to, do some training. You can't just jump in there unless they've
No.
designed it
I can
to where
barely
you
ride a
can just,
bicycle, let alone fly in a suit. I
yeah.
can't even ride a bicycle. Like I that would definitely need some training there.
Hmm. That would be awesome if that ever was invented.
Yeah. I mean, then again, like, you know what movies I was watching over like the holidays? I watched all of the Back to the Future movies, and it just made me think like, dang, are we the same? Like in the 80s, they thought, in the 2000s we're gonna have like flying cars and stuff. Are we the same? Like, oh, we're gonna think in like 40 years we're gonna have like suits where we can like fly. Are we gonna finally fly in hover cars and stuff like that? That would be cool. I'd be down for
Mm,
that.
yeah.
Travel would be well, I guess that would put all the airlines out of business because we could all have our own little pods and
Yep.
just travel
Hmm.
wherever we want. But then I'm like, wait, does that mean that like LA traffic would now be like air traffic and ground traffic? Like, would just be like, chilling in the clouds, like, Siri says it's gonna take 45 minutes to go 5 miles. I
Yeah.
thought air travel was gonna solve all this. I guess
Hmm.
not.
That is where I would just go as far as I could with the suit, as high as the highest altitude it could reach over all the people, and then come back down.
Oh, so you'd be one of those guys that are the motorcycles swerving in between everybody going on.
I would try to touch space as much as possible in that type
Ooh,
of altitude, and then hover, and then if the suit was like, okay, you gotta go down before, you lose control of the suit, then I would go back down to normal altitude.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah. Because everyone's thinking, no, I just gotta stay here in the sky and this air, and I no, I'm
We're rule
gonna
followers.
zoom.
We're rule followers. That's
Hmm.
the thing.
I did see a video of a guy who made kind of a lightsaber. It wasn't fully a lightsaber, but it had a high amount of temperature to where it could cut through things, and pretty soon we could be wielding a lightsaber.
That'd be pretty dope, I must say.
Yeah.
Like if you actually cut things when you pop,
Hmm.
that'd be pretty
Just.
fun. Is that going like will that be the new weapon of choice? Like, is that it? Like, is that going to be the new weapon? Because, like, can you imagine if like militaries just like started using lightsabers? Like,
Oh man.
that'd be kind of look cool.
Yeah.
That'd be badass. I must say.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be a movie for sure at some point
At
one
some
day.
point,
Hmm.
yes.
What type of films are you drawn to during this? Um, are you drawn to stop motion projects, comedy projects, action projects? What do you gravitate towards the most?
I definitely gravitate most towards dark comedies.
Okay,
And however, I've found that recently I've been getting called in a lot for like faith-based projects. And
okay.
it's like coming back. I don't know like what's in the air, the water, but like there's a lot of stuff out there and content that's all about like questioning faith and all of these like different things. I'm not very religious. I'm spiritual, I guess, but I'm not very religious. So it's really funny to me how these keep kind of just like coming into my life, these auditions
Hmm.
of and they're mostly just asking big questions and everyone has their own little opinion and the whole movie is just around this idea of like faith and religion, so that's been really interesting to you know come into contact with.
Right.
But I love dark comedies. I really like stories about people finding their way. I know that's very broad, but I just actually saw Minari, that film, and the acting was incredible. But I really do like those stories about people taking risks and having to kind of work around their life circumstances. And um, I don't know, very interesting to me. I like seeing someone struggle, but then come up out of it like a stronger, better person.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it is, I mean, although that's feel good, I like seeing how people deal with stress, with misfortune. I like how different people deal with that stuff.
Hmm. I see a purplish drawing back there. Is that a
Wait,
sorcerer drawing
this
of some
one or
sort?
that
That one, yeah, that one right.
one? First,
The purplish with the
okay, yeah.
red.
So this is like classic quarantine project. I'm not a
Oh, okay.
very painter artist person, but I was like, you know what? It might be fun to have like a painting night. So I found this picture of this like lavender painting, and I was like, oh, I really like that. And me being me, I was like, I can do that. That looks
Hmm.
easy. And then it comes out looking like that. So it was more of this fun kind of like hobby to start. Like
Right.
I actually I played instruments growing up. So like I started with piano, but I hated it, didn't love it,
Mm,
wasn't good at it. Then I played the trumpet for a while. And that I was like in band like from elementary and middle school. And that is like my one big regret is not continuing it in high school, but I just didn't
oh,
have time to be in marching band with like all the plays.
yep.
And that's
Hmm.
also when I realized I was like, okay, well, clearly I'm putting priorities on this thing, like acting and being in plays.
Hmm.
Maybe this is definitely something that's so important in my life that it trumps anything else, like any other hobbies and interests.
Right.
So so actually for Christmas, I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to learn the flute. I've always wanted to learn how to play. So my parents bought me like a cheap $80 flute on Amazon for Christmas. And now I just play it like whenever I want. And it's really nice, therapeutic, because if I'm stressed out or something or anxious about anything, it's kind of my little escape because I have to put all of my effort to this instrument, to playing the notes, to learning how to play. And it's been really cool to
Hmm.
be able to, practice that muscle again of,
Right.
playing an instrument. So I'm all about, dipping my finger into different things. Like I tried
Hmm.
like trapeze silks once just for fun because a friend was doing it. And sometimes things don't stick, like, painting doesn't stick. I do it once and I'm like, all right, I'm good. But other things like playing an instrument, like those things definitely, stick with me. And yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple kids in high school that did band, and they also did theater, and where they were also in Japanese club, and then they were also in this club, and then they were also somehow in football, and then over here they were all over the place. And I would always say, "How are you doing all these things and putting
Yeah,
all
I don't
the
know.
energy
How
and
is
all
it
to
possible?
these clubs? That's a
They
lot of
must
work."
have just been mediocre in everything because I can't see how someone could just be an expert in like all of those things. Like that's
Yeah.
wild, Like I remember yeah, I would join a club and acting always just took over my life. Like rehearsals are long,
Yeah.
so there's really no time for anything else. So yeah, I could, I was working worried on homework and theater. That was like my things.
Mm,
Oh, and I did do my high school's dance team, but the only way I could do that was it was in between, it was for the basketball season, so in between the fall play and the spring play. It was like right perfectly from November to February. And that worked out great. And I love dancing. So that was always like a lot of fun. And I did that all 4 years. God, I forget. Like, don't you forget how much you've actually done? Like, this life is
mm,
so short, but it feels so long,
yeah.
you know? Like, we've done so many things with our life already and hobbies and different memories and stuff. And it's only until you start talking about them that you're like, oh, wait, I did
No.
that. Isn't that
Yeah.
wild?
Man, yeah, that was yeah, high school was a great time. You could homework was fun, for the most part, except, math and science. For me it was took a while to understand those elements, but English and social studies, I was just fine in those areas. It was just math and science.
Did you ever in English class like read plays or books out loud, poems and stuff?
Yes. Hmm.
Did you? Okay, so in my class, like it was really funny because I was like, there were a couple of theater kids in my class, and then there was like, the athletes, and then the people who don't care about school, all in one room, or like the math, science, and people all in one
Yeah.
room. And I remember like we would read the play, and like the first day, everyone just be like, and he went here and I'm reading a thing. But then there'd be like me and like the other people that would like get into it, we'd like play the characters. And then by the end though, everyone was having so much fun just like being in it. Like you would see
Oh,
people who like would play sports would be like, get out of here. Like everyone would just be like yelling at each other and like really like in the moment. And it was so much fun to see how that kind of got everyone engaged and
mm-hmm.
in a fun way, and people's inhibitions just went
Right.
away, you know. But I always enjoyed English class for the open discussions and like reading out loud, and yeah, it was always a fun time.
Mm-hmm. We had the popsicle stick method, where the
What's
teacher pulls out your name on a popsicle stick and you have to read. So it was not open, like, who wants to go? It's you are picked to read.
Oh wow, okay,
And
that's
I think that's what caused people to not have the energy. But then again, if there was, a box of pizza just placed on one of the back tables, who knows? It might have elevated
if
the
you
energy just a
knew
tad.
if you were like, in order to eat a slice of pizza you have to read this, everyone would want to read
Yep.
it.
That's the strategy.
And I would
It's
read it
pizza.
3 times so I can get 3 slices of pizza
Yes.
because I can eat pizza forever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was this big thing of like controversy, not actually, but controversy with one of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercials because the little one would lick the other and
Oh,
like no consent. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch Square didn't consent. It looked
yeah.
horrified. But they were like really funny. There was a Vine. There was a Vine, rip Vine. I miss Vine, but like there was a Vine where it was like a little snippet of a Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercial, and and one of them like did that big lick on the other cinnamon toast, and then the whole thing went black and white, and then it had the kung kung from the SVU
Oh
special
my
in
gosh.
it. And I just, oh, that was such a great one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is great. Yeah,
Grapevine.
I didn't know that was a little issue. I just would see it
It
and
was
go,
a
oh,
pretend issue of
oh,
like
okay.
comedic, funny, fun issue. But
Okay.
that Vine is funny. You should look up the cinnamon toast Vine. It's hilarious.
Okay. Add that to my list of, all the videos I've watched, all the like videos that range from 2015 upward. I would say my favorite commercial from that time period was the Education Connection commercial.
Oh my gosh. Education connection. Get
Mm-hmm.
connected for free. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that's iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And they would play it all the time. All
All
the
the
time.
time.
And like, is Education Connection real? I have known no one who's actually used it. Like, where did they get the money for this commercial?
Yeah.
What actually is Education Connection? It's definitely some crazy front for some, I don't know, shady stuff
Mm-hmm.
because no one has ever used it that I
Yeah.
know. So anyone out there would love to hear if someone is
Mm-hmm.
using connection.
Yeah, that is a very interesting thought. What was it? I think they um just wanted to make a commercial about a product, but the product itself is not present. They just wanted their subject to rap about said subject and leave it at that. And then
Yeah.
boom.
It was like, when I get a degree, I
Uh-huh.
will make a big salary. So now I've got to see whose college is right for me. I went on the internet
Yeah.
and found education connection. Yeah, it's a bop.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, speaking of like funny old videos, do you remember that interview with the guy who had the robber? It was like, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Oh no.
I was just thinking about this morning. It was like, um, oh my gosh, it was Wanna- you don't have to come and confess. We're looking for you. We're gonna find you. We're gonna find you.
Oh
What?
no.
Oh my God. It was
Oh.
iconic. So basically, I guess there's a string of robberies in this like, low income area. And this guy gives this really crazy interview, is like, we're gonna find you, like you're stupid, like you're everyone closed their windows, this is happening. So these two people made they remixed it into a really catchy song of the interview. Oh my gosh, wait, how does it start? It's so funny. Oh my gosh. It's like close your hide your keys, close your window. I forget, but it is so
Okay.
funny. It's hilarious.
Wow.
How have we never seen this? Oh my god. This is like 2010 YouTube gold
Oh,
right
okay.
here.
You see, I was a little late to the whole YouTube party. Uh,
Okay.
my parents discovered they were the word of YouTube started floating around, in their realm, and they're, like, we don't know what this is. So the internet was still a strange place for them. And we want to keep you guys safe. We don't know what
Right.
the internet
Right.
possesses. It's a very
That's true.
strange
That's
realm
true.
of a world. And then later on, I was like, oh, YouTube. And then I went from there. But I didn't see all the old original stuff. I've seen a good chunk, but not every good um, original
Yeah.
video from back in the day.
Well, that's a funny one if you want to see it.
Okay.
He's climbing in your windows, he's snatching your people up. And it's like what he said in the interview, but they made it into this like really bad auto-tuned version of this
Mm-hmm.
like song. Hilarious.
Okay. Wow. I will have to check that out. Yeah, my parents, um, I remember whenever Nick at Night would come on, or Adult Swim, my dad would leap to the remote and have to quickly flip the
Right.
channel to National Geographic. The robot chicken logo appears. He leaps to the remote and
Robot
it
chicken.
changes.
That song was crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen Robot Chicken, but
Okay.
looks every time like I'll be watching Family Guy on Adult Swim or like Archer or something, whatever, and then Robot Chicken commercials come up and I'm like, this looks so bizarre. I've heard good things about it though. I mean, it has to be good. It's been running for a while, I think so, but
hmm
it does kind of cray. I'm not gonna lie.
I think a show that belonged on Adult Swim was Mr. Meaty.
I
It
didn't
was
know that one.
a puppeteer based show, and there was a lot of hidden subtext in the dialogue where you would
Hmm.
hear it as a kid and go, this doesn't sound very innocent, but I don't understand what they're saying. It doesn't sound right, but I can't piece it together. And then later on, you realize, oh no, it. Nickelodeon just was like, oh, it's puppets. Kids love puppets, but they didn't check to see the dialogue, it's a little dope, for the Nickelodeon slot. It should have been on the Nick at Night slot, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
The puppet design was very, very creepy and very, very strange.
Yeah,
It had
some of the
meat
puppets are
puppets that looked very fleshy. They took the time on
I would like that
the
one.
the design to make it look all flimsy and resemble meat and stuff. It was very strange.
I would not personally be into that as
Yeah.
much.
it wasn't on TV that long, so I guess they realized kids don't like seeing a puppet that looks like meat that's very flimsy.
No.
Yeah, very scarring for sure. Have you ever been on any closed Disney World or Disneyland rides that are no longer running or have been changed to new rides?
I haven't. I've only been to Disney World twice. One when I was
Okay.
like young and then in high school. But no, I'm not a big rides person. I like my stomach's very sensitive. Like the
Oh,
littlest
I
snack,
see.
I'll feel it. So I'm not a big rides person, but I have heard that I I don't know if it's real or not, but I heard the Tower of Terror like was supposed to like shut down, but that's a
Mm-hmm.
really popular ride. So, or maybe they just edited it, they changed it so now it's like a new theme. So it's not like Twilight Zone theme anymore. I think
Yeah.
it might be something else, but that I knew was like a big shock to people because they were like, "What? Like this is the best ride."